What do you drink, bourbon?
Look, I drove you home. I was glad to do it, but I have some things on my mind. You can understand that. All right, then.
Drink? Look, Benjamin, I'm sorry to be this way. It's just that I don't want to be alone in this house.
Why not?
Please, just wait until my husband gets back.
When's he going to get back?
Well, I don't know. Drink?
No. So, are you always this much afraid of being alone?
Yes.
Well, why don't you just lock the doors and go to bed?
I'm very neurotic. May I ask you a question? What do you think of me?
What?
Well, you know me near your whole life. You must have some formed opinion.
Well, I've always thought you were a very nice person.
Did you know that I was an alcoholic?
What?
Did you know that?
Look, I think I should be going.
Sit down, Benjamin.
Mrs. Robinson, if you don't mind my saying so, this conversation's getting a little strange. Now, I'm sure Mr. Robinson will be home any minute, and...
Nope.
What?
My husband should be gone for several hours. He's gonna be back quite late.
Oh, my God.
Pardon?
Oh, no, Mrs. Robinson, oh, no.
What's wrong?
I mean, you didn't expect... You didn't really think that...
Expect what?
I mean, you didn't really think that I'd do something like that, did you?
Like what?
What do you think?
Well, I don't know.
For God's sake, Mrs. Robinson, here we are. You've got me into your home. You give me a drink. Now you're opening up your personal life to me and telling me your husband won't be home for hours.
So?
Mrs. Robinson, you're trying to seduce me. Aren't you?
Why, no. I haven't thought of it. I feel rather flattered that you...
Mrs. Robinson, will you forgive me for what I just said?
It's all right.
It's not all right. It's the worst thing I've ever said to anybody.
Sit down, Benjamin.
Please, forgive me. Because I like you. I don't think of you that way, but I'm all messed up.
We'll forget it. Just finish your drink.
Mrs. Robinson, I feel terrible about saying that to you.
It's all right. Finish your drink, Benjamin.
What's wrong with me?
Have you seen Elaine's portrait?
Her portrait?
Yes.
No.
We had it done over last Christmas. Would you like to see it?
Very much.
What do you drink? Bourbon?
Look, Mrs. Robinson, I drove you home. I was glad to do it, but I have some things on my mind. Can you understand that?
Yes.
All right.
What do you drink? Benjamin, I'm sorry to be this way, but I don't want to be left alone in this house.
Why not?
Please wait till my husband gets home.
When is he coming back?
I don't know. Drink?
No. Are you always this much afraid of being alone?
Yes.
Well, why can't you just lock the doors and go to bed?
I'm very neurotic. May I ask you a question? What do you think of me?
What do you mean?
You've known me nearly all your life. You must have formed some opinion of me.
Well, I always thought that you were a very nice person.
Did you know I was an alcoholic?
What?
Did you know that?
Look, I think I should be going.
Sit down, Benjamin.
Mrs. Robinson, if you don't mind my saying so, this conversation is getting a little strange. Now, I'm sure that Mr. Robinson will be here any minute now.
No.
What?
My husband will be back quite late. He should be gone for several hours.
Oh, my God.
Pardon?
Oh, no, Mrs. Robinson, oh, no.
What's wrong?
Mrs. Robinson, you didn't expect...
What?
You didn't really think I'd do something like that.
Like what?
What do you think?
Well, I don't know.
For God's sake, Mrs. Robinson. Here we are. You got me into your house. You give me a drink. You put on music. Now you start opening up your personal life to me and tell me your husband won't be home for hours.
So?
Mrs. Robinson, you're trying to seduce me. Aren't you?
Well, no, I hadn't thought of it. I feel very flattered.
Mrs. Robinson, will you forgive me for what I just said?
It's all right.
It's not all right. It's the worst thing I ever said to anyone.
Sit down.
Please forgive me because I like you. I don't think of you that way, but I'm mixed up.
It's all right. Finish your drink.
Mrs. Robinson, it makes me sick that I said that to you.
Well, forget it right now. Finish your drink.
What is wrong with me?
Have you ever seen Elaine's portrait?
Her portrait?
Yes.
No.
We had it done last Christmas. Would you like to see it?
Very much.
Won't you sit down, Mr. Neff is the name, isn't it?
Oh, with two F's. Like Philadelphia, if you know the story.
What story?
The Philadelphia story? What are we talking about?
About the insurance. My husband never tells me anything.
It's on your two cars, the Acura RLX and the STS Cadillac. That's a hell of an anklet bracelet you're wearing there, Mrs. Dietrichson. He's been a customer of ours for 3 years. We'd hate to see the policy expire. Of course, we can give him 30 days, but that's all we're allowed to give.
I guess he's been too busy down in Long Beach with his construction crew.
Could I catch him at home some evening for a few minutes?
I suppose so. But he's never home much before 9.
That's fine with me.
You're not connected to AAA, are you?
No. Allstate. Mrs. Dietrichson, why?
Somebody from AAA has been trying to get to him. Do they have a better rate?
If he's a member.
No, he isn't.
Well, he would have to join the club and pay a membership fee to start with. AAA's fine. I never knocked the other fella's merchandise, Mrs. Dietrichson, but I have a very attractive policy here for you and your husband, and it would only take me 2 minutes to put it in front of him. For instance, we have a qualified discount feature in the collision coverage.
You're a smart insurance man, aren't you, Mr. Neff?
I have 11 years of it.
Doing pretty well?
It's a living.
And you handle just automobile insurance or all kinds?
Oh, all kinds. Fire, earthquake, theft, industrial stuff, group insurance, and so forth right down the line.
Accident insurance?
Accident insurance? Sure, Mrs. Dietrichson. I wish you'd tell me what's engraved on that anklet of yours.
Just my name.
As for instance?
Sasha.
Sasha. I think I like it.
But you're not sure.
I'd have to ride it around the block a couple of times.
Mr. Neff, why don't you drop by tomorrow evening about 9:30? He'll be in then.
Who?
My husband. You were anxious to talk to him, weren't you?
Sure, only I'm getting a little over it, if you know what I mean.
There's a speed limit in this state, Mr. Neff. 60 miles an hour.
How fast was I going, officer?
I'd say about 90.
What if you got off your motorcycle and wrote me a ticket?
What if I let you off with a warning this time?
Suppose it doesn't take.
Suppose I have to whack you over the head.
Suppose I bust out crying and I put my head on your shoulder.
Suppose you try putting it on my husband's shoulder.
That tears it. 9:30 tomorrow evening, then, Mrs. Dietrichson?
That's what I suggested.
Will you be here too?
I guess so. I usually am.
Same chair, same perfume, same anklet?
I wonder if I know what you mean.
Well, I wonder if you wonder.
You're a smart insurance man, aren't you, Mr. Neff?
Well, I've been at it 11 years.
Doing pretty well?
Well, it's a living.
You handle just automobile insurance or all kinds?
All kinds. Fire, earthquake, theft, public liability, group insurance, industrial stuff, and so on right down the line.
Accident insurance?
Accident insurance? Sure, Mr. Dietrichson. Wish you'd tell me what's engraved on that anklet.
Just my name.
As, for instance?
Phyllis.
Phyllis, huh? I think I like that.
But you're not sure.
I'd have to drive it around the block a couple of times.
Mr. Neff, why don't you drop by tomorrow evening around 8:30? He'll be in then.
Who?
My husband. You were anxious to talk to him, weren't you?
Yeah, I was, but I'm sort of getting over the idea, if you know what I mean.
There's a speed limit in this state, Mr. Neff. 45 miles an hour.
How fast was I going, officer?
I'd say around 90.
Suppose you get down off your motorcycle and give me a ticket.
Suppose I let you off with a warning this time.
Suppose it doesn't take.
Suppose I have to whack you over the knuckles.
Suppose I bust out crying and put my head on your shoulder.
Suppose you try putting it on my husband's shoulder.
That tears it. $8:30 tomorrow evening, then.
That's what I suggested.
Will you be here, too?
I guess so. I usually am.
Same chair, same perfume, same anklet?
I wonder if I know what you mean.
I wonder if you wonder. It was a hot afternoon, and I can still remember the smell of honeysuckle all along that street. How could I have known that murder can sometimes smell like honeysuckle? Maybe you would have known, Keys, the minute she mentioned accident insurance. But I didn't. I felt like a million.
It's a menace to the community. I'm turning it in and having it destroyed.
Destroyed? Toto? Oh, you can't. You mustn't. Annie M, you won't let her, will you? Please, Aunt M. Mrs. Gold, Toto didn't mean to. I'm really sorry. I'm the one that let it out in your garden. I'll come home after school. I'll work extra hours. I will
If
replant
you don't
plants.
hand it over, I will sue you and take all your money.
But
there is a law protecting folks against dangerous people.
How about she keeps it in the house? It's really quite gentle with gentle people, that is.
It really is.
Well, that's for the courts to decide. Here, I have a warrant to take Toto away. That is, unless you want to go against the law.
Well, go against the law, Dorothy. I'm afraid poor Toto's gonna have to go.
Now you're seeing reason.
No.
Just give it up so it can't attack me again. Or I'm taking you in.
No. No, I won't let you. You go away, you. No, I'll bite you myself.
Dorothy!
You fucking bitch. Aunt M, you won't let her, will you?
Here,
Please, Aunt M.
I have an order. Now let me
Stop
I'll
her.
keep it in the house.
The idea. Aunt M.
Myra Gold, just because you own half the country does not give you the right to run the rest of us. For 23 years, I wanted to tell you what I thought of you. And now, being a Christian woman, I can't say it.
No. That dog's a menace to the community. I'm taking him to the sheriff and make sure he's destroyed.
Destroyed? Toto? Oh, you can't. You mustn't. Auntie M, Uncle Henry, you won't let her, will you?
Of course we won't. What'll we have?
Please, Aunt M. Toto didn't mean to. He didn't know he was doing anything wrong. I'm the one that ought to be punished. I let him go in her garden. You can send me to bed without supper.
If you don't hand over that dog, I'll bring a damn suit and take your whole farm. There's a law protecting folks against dogs that bite. How would it be if she keeps him tied up? He's really gentle. With gentle people, that is. Well, that's for the sheriff to decide. Here's his order allowing me to take it. Unless you want to go against the law. We can't go against the law, Dorothy. I'm afraid poor Toto will have to go. Now you're seeing reason. Here's what I'm taking him in. So he can't attack me again.
Oh, no, no, I won't let you take him. You go away. Oh, I'll fight you myself.
Dorothy.
You wicked old witch. Uncle Henry, Auntie Em, don't let her take him. Don't let her take him, please. Stop her.
Put him in the basket, Henry.
Oh,
I did.
no. Oh, darling.
Elmira Gulch. Just because you own half the county doesn't mean you have the power to run the rest of us. For 23 years, I've been dying to tell you what I thought of you. And now, well, being a Christian woman, I can't say it.